Hello, Nancy here, and I want to teach you a few increases here today. Two of them, well, one you're probably very familiar with. You probably did it whether you wanted to or not. It's called a yarn over. And the other one is probably one of the first increases you will learn to make, and it's called knitting in the front and back of the same stitch, or purling in the front and back of the same stitch. KF&B or PF&B. Yarn over is YO. That's typically the abbreviation for it. Yarnovers you will use really only for a few kinds of patterns, specifically lace. Very, very common in lace patterns. I mean, that is lace, the yarnovers. The other thing you may or may not use it for is little baby buttonholes if you're making a small sweater. The knitting in the front and back of the same stitch is also known as a raglan stitch because it's very common when you're doing a top-down sweater. It's part of the pattern, actually. It's the design that forms along the raglan sleeve. The other thing it was real common with when everybody was knitting ponchos, as they were increasing it, they were using the knit in front and back. The problem with it is it does show a bar, so you have to be very careful where you place it. It's very useful if you're putting it in ribbing. There are patterns that specifically ask you to use it, and there's a reason for it. And usually, you just say, why did they put it there? Well, they want you to use it for some particular reason, and as the pattern gets more detailed, you'll usually see why. But I'm going to show you first the knit side of how to do the yarn over and also the knit in front and back of the same stitch. So, to begin with, we're going to do the knit in front and back of the same stitch. As you've heard me preach before, don't do anything on your selvage stitch. Try to stay in a stitch or two away from your edge stitches. It's just a good practice. Okay, so we're just going to go a few here. And what I'm going to do now is show you, this is knit in the front and back of the same stitch. It is exactly what it says, okay? So I'm going to knit, okay? See me bring it through, all right? Typically you would discard this off your needle, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to rotate the right needle to the back of that same stitch right here. And if you can see, I'm turning it upside down. Then I'm going to put my needle in the back of that stitch right there. Now I'm going to wrap it again, okay? Then I'm going to bring it through. Now I am ready to discard. And there's the little baby stitch here at the side. See that? There's my first stitch, and there's my new baby. Do you see the bar, the purl bar you get on the bottom? That's why you have to be careful where you use this. So I'm going to knit one again, get a little space between us. We're going to do it again. Knit, okay, then we're going to swing this around to the back, then we're going to go through the back, I hope you can see this, of that same stitch. It's the very same stitch you're in. Then I'm going to bring it around my working yarn, bring it through, and off. That's knitting in front and back of the same stitch. Yarnovers, I swear, were invented by mistake. Somebody just accidentally did that and then decided later, that looks kind of nice. Yarn over is one of those stitches. It's exactly what it says. It's yarn over the needle, just like that. You bring it over your needle the same way you do when you're going to knit, only you're not in a stitch. So you bring it over your needle, and then you go to your next stitch, and then you knit it, okay? And it makes this little hole. That's what these are. These little holes are yarn overs I made. Okay? So we're going to do that one again. Okay? Yarn over. Feel free to put your finger there to keep it secure. Then knit your next stitch, and there you have your yarn over and your knit in the front and back. Now we're going to get to the other side, and I'm going to show you how to do the purl end of it. And that's not terribly difficult, just a little different. Okay, so we're going to finish our row. Okay, we're going to flip it over. The purl side Okay, we're going to do the yarn over first. Okay, we're going to bring our yarn in front. And the only difference with your yarn over on the purl side, you have to bring it over your needle. If you were going to knit, this is good enough. You go in and would knit your stitch, but obviously we're purling. That's not going to do it. So you've got to bring it more forward so that's cleared that needle. It's almost completely around. Then go in and purl your next stitch and off your needle. So around and bring it forward. Then purl your next stitch. Now I'm going to show you purl in front and back of the same stitch. Okay? You go in and purl like you normally would, except you're not going to discard that stitch. What you're going to do, and this is awkward, I know it is, because it's awkward even trying to show you. You're going to go in through the back of that same stitch. See how I'm doing this? Then you're going to wrap your yarn, purl it off. Okay, we're going to do that again. Purl, you're going to wrap it, okay? Then you're going to purl through the back side of that same stitch. You see how I'm going in here? If you had an extra set of hands, it would work really well right now. Okay, you see how I'm coming around here? Then you finish off, okay? And do it again, because I know this is really, most people, when I've showed this to them, they're like, huh? It's one of those huh stitches, okay? Purl, bring it through, purl through the back. So you're coming around from the opposite end. Maybe this is a good angle to see it at. Then wrap it, bring it through, off, okay? And it's the same thing. There's your little purl on the side. And it looks the same on the knit side, except your little baby's on the opposite side. We're going to do that one more time. Okay, we're going to purl. Okay, then we're going to take and go into the back of that stitch. And then off. Okay? That is purling in the front and back of the same stitch. Practice that one.